Hi guys, this is me Vaibhav, and today I want to share with you three key ideas that I came across while I was reading this book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Now this is a very famous book and it is highly probable that some of you must have read it or at least heard about it. Now this book has a lot of ideas that are worth sharing, but I'll only share the ideas that I thought were most important and at least I can fit in a one video. Now, this book revolves around one key idea and it again and again reiterates and iterates this point that success is not just dependent upon one parameter of hard work or talent or skill. Success is dependent upon a holistic amount of factors, a lot of parameters, including cultural background, historical background, family background, and even your birth date can be a crucial factor in your success, depending upon whichever profession you are. You're in business or even sports. Now, so this is the key idea around which this whole book is revolving. So I'll start with the first and foremost, the idea which I like the most. It happens to be in a chapter called Ethnic Theory of Plane Crashes. Now, as the name suggests, the author did some research and he's trying to put forward a point that in the countries which have high power distance have more number of plane crashes than the countries which have low power distance. For those of you who don't know what power distance is a parameter by which we measure the tendency of people in a country to be compliant to authority. So in countries like China, Korea, and Japan, so there is a little high level of power distance, because even in India, because we tend to be more respectful, more compliant of authority, whereas in USA and other Western countries, the power distance is significantly low. The gap between the hierarchies is not that high, and people don't hesitate in communicating to their seniors, to their super seniors. So, but what does it has to do with plane crashes? Now, coming to plane crashes, the point here is that the author which trying to make is that it tries to put forward one example of flight Avianca, which tragically crashed a few years back. Now, what author is trying to say is that the crash happened because of multitude of reasons, but one major reason was lack of communication between the two pilots and between the pilot and the control room. Now, how can such a communication gap lead to a plane crash? Now, the point is that there is an instance where the second pilot, the plane is running out of fuel. The second pilot communicates with the control room and he says that we are going to try again for the landing, and also we are running out of fuel. Now, imagine you are in the control room. Will you catch the urgency of the situation? Because the urgent part of the sentence, that we are running out of fuel, has been added in the second part of the sentence. So the point here is that the urgency is not been captured in the sentence, and the second pilot is more still trying to frame his sentence in a good way, so that he does not upset anybody in control room, he does not upset the first pilot. However, in this situation, he needs to let go of his guards, he needs to let go of the respect, and he needs to put forward a point that there is an emergency, I'm running out of fuel, I need to land right now. And then comes the most important quote that I found in this book. This book says that planes are more safer when the least experienced pilot is flying them, because in that case, the second pilot will not hesitate to communicate with the first pilot, because in most of the cases first pilot is senior, and if he's making any mistake, the second pilot, being a junior, might hesitate to communicate with the first pilot, to tell him that, sir, you're doing what you're doing is wrong and we need to write our course. So that's the primary idea that has been shared in this book. The idea I like the most, that that the importance of communication, that we have to communicate properly, and knowing our cultural gaps, knowing the lapses, knowing the small gaps and loopholes that we have in our historical or cultural background, we can correct them while training for what is our projects, or even if let's say flying planes. So guys, the second idea that I really liked about this book is the 10,000 hour rule. Now this is a very famous rule, and every leader, every CEO, every successful person will know about this rule. Now what this rule states is that you take any expert in any field, you take Bill Gates, you take Bill Joy of Sun Microsystem, you take Beatles, and all of these experts, one thing is common. They have put at least 10,000 hours in their practice, in their craft, to be at a point where they are today. The author gives examples of Beatles, one of the greatest bands ever. Beatles had already done 1200 shows before they came out with their first successful album. Now guys, 1200 shows is a lot of time. Plus add practice to that, it will definitely be more than 10,000 hours. So what do we get from this? Now the point the author is trying to make is that practice is not doing what we are good at. Practice is doing something which we want to be good at. And this breaks the myth of natural talent, genetics, and he's born with that talent, she's born with that gift. Because even somebody has the gift, he has to put 10,000 hours to achieve the level of expertise. And that's the myth this author is trying to break with 10,000 hours rules. Now coming to the third idea, which I really liked about this book, is it's something to do with something called as Mathew Effect. Now the term Mathew Effect has been coined because it has some relation with the quote in New Testament. I'll get to that later. Now what Mathew Effect means, if you remember in the starting of the video, I told you that even the date on which you are born in a year can significantly impact your lives. Now let's go back to our school days. Now in our school, in classes, there are two types of students. One who are born in the starting of the academic year, and one who are born in the end of the academic year. So there's a significant amount of difference between a 5-year-old and 6-year-old. So these two students, one who is born earlier, one who is born at the end, will have at least 11 to 10 months of difference between them. And 11 to 12 months difference is a huge amount of mental and physical difference. And it happened with me when I was in school. I was not growing tall at a rate as my counterparts were. So I did not make it to basketball team because of the height, even though I played well, but I couldn't make it to the basketball team. But then the later classes, let's say 10th or 11th standard, when I gained height, the people who were already selected, they have become better at the game because of the practice they were getting. And hence this point is the author trying to make, is that that's what happens. The 10-month, 11-month difference between two kids is so huge that the elder kid is actually good at something. He gets the attention, he gets the training, and he becomes further better. And hence this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a self-fulfilling vicious cycle. So the one who is successful tends to get more attention. A student who is more intelligent tends to get more attention. A sportsman who has been doing good tends to get more training. And this is what a bias in our system which we need to address. And this book really puts it forward. So this is all these 3 points I really liked. And so But what's the one takeaway for us from this? Now, the author, or let us not try to criticize the system that we have in place, that people are successful purely because of luck. That's not what we are trying to say. What we are trying to say is that just apart from hard work, talent, skills, we need a supporting environment. We need a supportive cultural background. We need a supportive family background. We need a supportive system that takes away these inherent biases, these lucky breaks, these irrational birthday system that plays to advantage of some and disadvantage to others. And we create a system that provides equal opportunities for everyone. And that, my friend, were the key takeaway from the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.